Good afternoon, and welcome back to Child Psychology. Welcome to week 15, where we're just finishing our discussion of adolescence. And this is particularly an exciting week because I think I can see a culmination of everything we've talked about from birth and conception all the way up through here. Because in this week, and you're reading, you'll look at the question of identity. What is it that makes us who we are? As we have seen all along the whole psychological development of children, that everything has come together to make this person who he or she is. And so in keeping with where we've been discussing, I want to thank you again for your participation each and every week in the discussions. I think I get the most out of that. It's just a wonderful opportunity to take what we're reading and to put it in the perspective of our own lives and illustrations through these different issues, articles, video issues, and see and comment and analyze and come up with some connections maybe. So I just want to thank you overall for the whole semester for doing that. This last week, we looked at a discussion on the brain of adolescents, the brains of adolescents. The question is, the cognitive development is really about why do adolescents, why do teenagers think the way they do? So we have, on the one hand, biologically, we have developed not perfection, but we've developed the adult brain. On the other hand, we have to deal with the fact that the emotional part of the brain, the limbic system, is still in creation. And so we get this brain that's almost like we have dual brains. So I found it interesting that your discussions were sort of that dual area as well. So we have, just want to point out Sarah, the two Sarahs, Sarah Walsh and Sarah Smith, and what you were saying about being dramatic and emotional sensibilities, and you really highlighted that as part of that adolescent brain, that we're just really sensitive to the way things are, and we tend to think in terms of things really dramatic. Meanings and connections with our everyday events. Now, here I am 54 years old, and I would say that for the most part, I find that the little events of life are not as dramatically meaningful, but they are just small little parts of a very beautiful puzzle that when put together is the whole of life. I think it's interesting to see what is it that characterizes the more adult use of the brain. What is it that leads a person to ignore the dramatic kinds of reactions and to go more toward making logical decisions and adult decisions? Daniel mentioned just simply being associated with adults and having that interest in conversation with adults. Joshua mentioned having adult responsibilities, taking care of things, and all of that. See, that highlights something, that points to something, that all adolescents really could be more responsible, and so they have that ability. So we couldn't say just because someone's going through adolescence, they have to fall to peer pressure. They choose to, and it's okay. It's part of development. So I did enjoy the duality, or I don't know what you might call it, but the differences in the different responses of your different adolescent backgrounds. So anyway, thank you again for your discussions, for your participation in the discussions, and I look forward to a couple of more entries. I think next week we talk about the socio-emotional aspects, and then the week after that, they'll have sort of a summary video or summary discussions where you can kind of look at what you've learned overall. So anyway, have a great week and take care of yourselves.